I got a test, I got a test, I got a test. Hey, 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 hey. Wow, that's horrible. Thankfully, I can crochet a little bit better than I can sing. Wouldn't you know that I actually was in choir in high school? Okay, that's total tangent. Yeah. Anyway, I swore against any more testing, but I just can't do it. It's a struggle. And I'm happy to be there for a friend. MC has been a fantastic supporter of mine. I have wanted to jump up on an opportunity to help support her as well. And this seems like the perfect one because I just love the stitch texture that she has come up with this Juniper jumper. Yeah. So yeah, I am excited about it. She is hosting the test through Slack, which I think is kind of fun because I don't know if you've ever used Slack before, but it separates things out into kind of like folder situations. And it's a lot easier to keep up with the like PDF pattern updates. And I really much prefer patterns in PDF format rather than on like a Google Drive where it's not in the actual way the pattern is going to be. I love seeing the layouts of that, the way that designers do. And I've not actually made any of MC's patterns, which is freaking crazy. This is a made to measure pattern. And I feel like it's a great opportunity for me to bust some stash while having some fun with some friends. There are a couple other friends, Sherry and Stacy, that are also making some in there. So I think it's just gonna be really cool if I get to see all these people in real life, possibly this year, I don't know, like hopefully, and be able, like, I want all the opportunities of twinning. Any chance that I can do that, I'm gonna keep making the things. So I have this yarn that my friend, I believe Brandy, IMO Stitches, gave to me. And she already labeled on here what it, like how much yardage is in here. So it's 690 yards in here. I think I have the pattern over there. I should have brought it over here, but I think MC used like 630 maybe for her sample. And she made a long sleeve. I was thinking I was gonna make a short sleeve on mine, but now knowing that she used that kind of yardage, I might go ahead and try long sleeve. But I've decided I'm using cotton. This is a DK weight. As you can see, I already swatched. I did a suggested 5-inch square swatch like MC did, and I used the same suggested hook size of 5.5 millimeter. And I really like the fabric, and that's the concept. She's like, if you like the fabric, continue on because everything's going to be made to measure. If you don't like the fabric, you know, go up or down in needle sizes till you get a fabric that you like. This is crazy that I basically have the same tension as her is what I'm learning on this. Or at least like we got something that works yarn wise similarly. She, I guess, used some yarn that she dyed herself, which is like an alpaca blend. So, and I'm not a fan of alpaca, but hers looks really beautiful. I am going to use this Rowan. I know you can't see terrible, but Rowan California cotton. It's 100% pure natural cotton, grown and spun in the USA. It's 50 grams, approximately 115 yards. So, that's some interesting wash instructions on here. So yeah, I've got to wind these, but I already had this one here. She had it in a ball, but I went ahead and caked it up because I had my winder out for a second, and then, but I think I might make this a whole large cake. So this is 6 skeins right here. At the same time, because I feel like they're just 50 grams, you know, so I might as well make it a large cake. At the same time, I'm wondering if maybe I should just do each one as I go, because what if I just decide I'm going to do a short sleeve? And also, or just a tank. I don't know. I really love the neckline stitching, and that's what I'm in for. But the idea, I don't know, I could also give myself more length. Hers looks more cropped, so I feel like I could give myself more length, which might use more yardage. Because I want to use as much of it as I possibly can, which is why it has me thinking that I should wind it all up at one time, because there's not a bunch in each, and I think I could work this all up. I honestly think I could get this done in like one day, because crochet is amazing like that. All right, well, I'm gonna go get this started now that I did an update with you and I did my little swatch, and yeah, here we go, Netflix and crochet. Okay, I just want to give a little update. I have got my stitches and now I know how many rows I'm gonna go, and so initially I almost started on the rows because I totally missed the part of doubling up, which I knew was a thing. It's basically 2 panels. So I've decided I want a hip length. She has an area where you figure up all your finished dimensions. And then I obviously did a gauge. She didn't really put in there, so I'm gonna have that as a note with testing. I don't know if she's gonna end up putting it in the finalized thing of how to use like your gauge swatch to factor your stitch count and row count. That's a lot of how I design. So if I were to make a gauge swatch, generally I may have my finished item and I'll get my gauge for my finished item. I do things backwards with designing, but there are moments where, yeah, I can have a concept and I make a gauge swatch and then I write the pattern from the gauge swatch. But a lot of things will evolve sometimes, which is why I feel like the most accurate gauge will be for my finished item. Not to mention like the weight of it all and can change the gauge. So yeah, so I've decided hers is cropped based off pictures. But I've decided I wanted hip length, and I went with Craft Yarn Council kind of length, and then like a rough estimate with stitches based off of the multiple that she mentions in there. And I did the same with the row count. Yeah, so I'm just going to be continuing this for most of the pattern until I'm gonna do the neckline bit. And yeah, so I still have this much of the skein to do, and then I'm gonna wind all of these into a big cake because they're only 50 grams each skein. So I think it'll be nice for me to just like work it as one big cake. And I have a feeling I'm gonna need all the yarn. Once I build the 2 panels and seam them together, then I'll figure out like what kind of sleeve I'm gonna do, if I do any sleeve at all, based off whatever yardage I might have remaining. I did mention earlier, I think incorrectly, she has it actually like 684 yards, I think, that she used. So I know I'm really close to what she used for hers, but if I'm not gonna have sleeves, then that, and I put that yardage into like body stitches, I think I can probably get like at least a little cap sleeve or something. Yeah, I think it's gonna be super cute. I finished one panel. Okay, so the detailed part goes in the middle. And no matter how many times I counted that initial one, I was 1 stitch off. So I went ahead and just skipped, didn't do like the 2 skip at the end, but it's still gonna be fine. And I'm gonna make the second panel with the 1 extra stitch, and it'll match up. Like I'll block them probably before seaming, and so it'll be the measurement it needs to be. And I mean, I don't even know if it's necessary to block before seaming. I generally like to do that in panels because then you give the chance for the stitches to relax and you know it's gonna be where it's gonna be when seaming, instead of like seaming and then later it might pucker and not, like the way the stitches will relax won't be as nice as it could be. Yeah, so that's gonna be really cute. I don't know how deep I'm gonna do the V's. I was already looking ahead and she was like, you could make the V however you want. She made it a little higher in the back than the front, which I assume is probably what I'm gonna do as well. Yeah, those little treble clusters. One panel done. I think it's gonna be super cute. So this is how much yarn I have left. And here's to doing the second one. Ooh, excuse me. It's already so drapey before even being washed. I just love yarns like this. So good. Okay, that's my update. I for sure think I can get it done today. I've hit a dilemma, y'all. I ran out of yarn. It's all worked in. So this long string is here because I took from the original panel, which basically half of the double, the edging, the last row. So I am going to end, this is all, I've just got to add the treble row and the last row on. Like this is the width that I need before those last two. So I'm gonna make it work because I'm not going to frog all of this to make it shorter and make it work with one yarn. But what does this mean? I guess that I'm not gonna have any sleeves. I don't know if that's like a requirement to do within the test. I haven't asked that part yet. I think I'm gonna like it as is. So I'm gonna assemble it and then show it and then see if I need to make another with sleeves to complete the test. But yeah, so I tapped in and completed it up to here. And so now I think I'm gonna do a bit of color play because there's no way I can get more of this yarn. It's like a discontinued vintage yarn, which is tragic because it's incredible. So I raided my stash and I have remnants from We Are Knitters, the cotton. And there's not much left of this, but I feel like surely I could get, surely there's enough of this to do the little treble cluster bits for both panels, because then I feel like I could keep in the brown family and that looks really good together, right? And then hopefully I could use the rest, like whatever I have left from this to do the edging that I need, because there's like also a bottom edging. That's going to probably get tricky with seaming too. So hopefully I have enough for seaming as well. Then I have this option, but when I was seeing it in my stash, I was thinking, oh, green. And I see these little clusters as very leafy bits. But in the browns, it's almost like coffee bean, right? So I really would like to stick to the coffee bean, but then when I see these colors together, it doesn't really give as much green as it does blue. I think this must be the aquamarine color. It does, I didn't really see a color on here. Yep, it is. It's the aquamarine color. So I feel like it's leaning more to the blue than it is to the green, and it's kind of clashing with this natural color. I don't think it would be terrible. So if I can't make this work, then I think I'm gonna have to explore more in my stash of what I can do. Yeah. Tragic. Would be cool. Crochet takes so much yardage, but I mean, like, I could have went with crop and probably achieved everything I needed to. That's the thing about taking the risk when it comes to making like panels and a made to measure thing. I could have taken the swatch and estimated like what kind of yardage it would have been, worked it out with her, but I like to play the game. And sometimes I also feel like playing this sort of game might, like, it helps me work through the creative process. And sometimes doing color play brings out a whole nother realm of a cool garment. So, because I have some really cool garments where I did play some yarn chicken and it came out cool because of that. So yeah, I guess I'll be back on how that goes. I think I'm going to weigh this yarn again just so I know for sure the numbers on yardage before I start adding another color. Still bad news. Lost a yarn chicken again. I did this panel and then I weighed the yarn and I was like 1.5 grams off, like half of the original weight. So I kind of had a feeling I was going to run out of yarn, but I went ahead and went with it anyways. So I hadn't even counted on here, I guess. I am like roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 10 treble clusters and a couple trebles away from the end. So my resolution right now is thinking maybe I should split it up. So like maybe I'll decide that half of this way, like the back part. Should I go in the front? I'm thinking maybe I could do like this and do the clusters the same color on one side. Should I extend it to the collar too? And then like the cluster, like I could, because I have this much left of this color. So I'm wondering if I could do like, so if I'm doing this much seaming for the V for the front, if maybe this many clusters could be the same color on both sides. So what am I saying? Like 10 and 10 basically? Well, I don't know. I haven't counted those. So where the seam would be the matching clusters here, but I'd still keep a contrast on like the back. Then I would be hoping, do I have enough to work in edging around the bottom? Which I also realized, so the ends of the treble rows, like where the clusters are, end in a treble. And I'm gonna have to stitch in that for the edging. So I feel like the first ones should always be this same color. Am I gonna have enough still though to make it work? Like, I could, whatever I have left, be able to alternate the colors on the bottom also to make the edging. Is it worth continuing working with this yarn or just to start another one with yardage I know I'm going to have? Or frog the whole thing and make it shorter and then not have to deal with as much yarn chicken. This was supposed to be a quick project that I just went off the rails on. It's okay. I think I'm gonna go ahead first by figuring out how many I would do here. Because I think my V was here. That's how many trebles I think I want to do, clusters on both sides. I'll be back. Well, that worked a little bit. this is all the yarn that I have left. So that's concerning to be able to finish seaming and a possible edging on the bottom. I don't see that happening. Bring in a third color? I don't even have anything like similar, I think, in this yarn for like the bottom. And then if I wanted, I feel like if I brought in a third color, I could do it on the sleeves and then the bottom, but I would need it to be something close to this. I'm gonna try to do some seaming right now, I guess. I've made this situation harder on myself. So in the midst of seaming, I had to frog and redo to make these match up because the ends, the way that they land, don't match up. So like one side, you have an extra treble down there, and one side, you only have one. So I had to, so these bits were not matching up. So I had to redo some of that. And then I opted for a slip stitch seam, which you can see in the opposing color, the contrast color popping through. So yeah, so I opted to do slip stitch seaming. She suggests like a mattress stitch, and she did the mattress stitch so that it would be an exposed seam. So I think, I feel like we're free to do whatever seam that we want to do. And I just went with that because I felt like I needed to use as little yarn as I can. I don't have much left now. I have not enough to get around the bottom edging, which is what I need. This is literally all I have left. I started to think, I have a lot of Kobu. So I looked into that and the colors don't match very well. So I don't know what to do, because I have worn myself out on doing these cluster bits for now. So, and I definitely need an edge to this, especially seeing as how that's part of the make. And, I mean, it wouldn't be bad to wear just like this, but maybe a little more sleeve might be nice too. And that could help bring in a third color. But is that too much color blocking? I almost thought like a crazy pop might be cool. I have enough Kobu. So it really sucks because I feel like I should just take this contrast color out. And I've already cut so much of it, you know? So it sucks because like, what am I going to use it for in the future? But, and it would mean so much other stuff I got to take apart that I already redid. And I'm overdoing all that again. So, but it would be smarter about doing a different color with this. And I could just, instead of doing it the way I did here, I could have like those bits as a different color and be able to bring in and work the edge, like the edge with this color, because I'll have all of this left. And then I can bring that same color in if I don't have enough for like edging and possibly a little color block sleeve. But I feel like it might get a little tacky if I'm bringing in a third color now. I might set this down. I mean, technically I have so much time for this test. I could just completely choose a different yarn and start all over and put this to the side and say, oh, I made one, but now I'm familiar with the pattern. I don't know, there are options. I did it. I frogged it. I did the math, and I'm gonna go for a shorter version. But bonus, I don't have to do the foundation chain again, or the foundation stitches again, at least. So I can just carry on with all the half double crochets again. Okay, I accomplished it in one day. I have lots of yarn still left. Okay, now I can't remember. Okay, yeah, this is the front. Front's lower, the back's higher. It's definitely a shorter, more cropped version. So now I will do the bottom edging, and then whatever's left will go into sleeves. Yeah. So we accomplished it, and maybe I'll divvy these up like half and half weight-wise, so I know exactly how much sleeve I can put on each after I do the bottom edge. Yeah. Awesome. I basically got 3/4 sleeves out of the yardage, and she's officially done. So that means it is picture time. I just had to take advantage of the beautiful scenery when meeting up with some yarnies, who they call themselves the Knitwits, for their monthly birthday celebrations. It's not too often that I wear something before it even releases, like my patterns or other people's patterns. So I gotta say, it was like killing two birds with one stone. I don't know if I really like that saying, but you know what I mean? Like getting to wear a yarny thing, meeting with yarnies, but also needing to take pictures and doing it at a beautiful area. And I gotta say too, this is really comfortable. I'm happy about it. And I got so many compliments.